your career right away from when you get into college. And the whole reason of 4 years, 3 years, it's so that you can explore. So don't have to think that you're pressurized to like, I want to be a doctor at age 17. It's okay. You have some time. Like, there's no rush about that right now.
To answer that question, to be honest, I'm a freshman and I don't know what I want to do. But the main thing is you just have to keep an open mind and just take a variety of classes. Like for instance, you can take a math class, a humanities class, a social science class, and just understand what piques your interests. What are you interested in and what do you want to do for the rest of your life? For me, I took a variety of classes, but you also need to recognize that you want to make sure that the classes that you take align with your graduation requirements. So it's not like you're just taking it for nothing. There's a reason behind taking those classes, and that's it aligns with your graduation requirements, and it also allows you to choose a major. In terms of extracurriculars, I think the biggest thing you have to do is just ask. I was talking to a professor the other day, and he was telling me that a lot of students just don't ask. You have to, like, if you're looking for an internship, or you want to get familiar with a particular if you want to get like experience in a particular field, what you can do is just ask a professor. So you email like 10 professors and you ask them like, can I join your team? Can I experience what you do? Can I shadow you? And like a lot of them might say no, and that's okay because it's like somewhere where you've started somewhere, and even if they say no, they can refer you to somewhere else. And even if they say yes, it might not be a perfect internship, but you started somewhere, and then that internship could lead you to have connections to get a better internship that might be your ideal internship. So my advice to you is just take a variety of classes, understand what interests you, and in terms of like getting experience, just ask or just get connections and just start somewhere.
So could we have two panelists answer? At what age did you know which career you wanted to pursue? Did you stick with what you thought you liked, or did you change your career path during or after college?
I honestly think I decided what I wanted to do by my senior year of college when I was really looking for jobs and trying to figure out where I can best take all of the skills that I got from college and put them into an actual career. So it took a while, and then what was the other part of the question? Can you read it again? Okay. Yeah, so I changed my mind. I went in freshman year and I was like, you know what, I want to go into design. This is what I want to do. Then I took the studio class. It was really, really tough. And then I also wanted to be a teacher at the same time. And I was like, maybe I should switch my major. But I talked to my advisor and she kind of brought me back and she said, you know what, this is a hard class. But if you persevere this class, this is, like I mentioned, one of those weed out classes. It's really trying to push you to your limits so that you can further excel in like your skills. So I changed my mind, but I went back to where I started, and I'm glad that I did because I got to do something really different. Like it's not STEM, it's not like anything I feel like many people do, but there's a lack of people in our community in this field because we have a really interesting perspective, especially with the design, because we come from like, we can bring in like design from Iran, Iraq, all of these elements, we have a more cohesive picture. So I changed my mind because I knew that I was more valuable in one field than the other.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I knew that I wanted to do medicine, but I actually spent all 4 years of my college life, preparing for PA school, which is like physician assistant. It's not the same thing. You do get to practice medicine, but you're under the supervision of a doctor. And the whole reason for that was because I thought med school was going to be super hard and long, and residency was going to be hard and long. But I actually even applied to PA school and got into PA school. But when I was actually I even got an apartment in New Jersey. So this is just to say that it's okay to change plans. It's okay to change your mind. At the end of the day, you should do what you're passionate about. And if you have to change plans, don't feel like you've years into one thing that you can't change to another thing. So I actually decided to apply to med school because when I was shadowing the PA, I realized that she didn't have the type of autonomy over her patients that I would like over my patients, to be able to have the full knowledge and the full experience to be able to treat a patient. So at the end of the day, I decided to change my mind. So it's the same thing where even if it's something hard, as long as you are passionate about it, I think you should pursue it and try hard to pursue that career and not be scared by how hard it is.
Do we have another audience question before we move on to the...
I think there's a question. So to be honest, what universities look at is there are like 26 things that they look at. But what I can do is I can shed light upon the most important things or criteria. So the first that you guys already know are like GPA and SAT scores. And what you want to do is just make sure that your SAT and GPA scores align with the average SAT or GPA score of those that have been admitted to a school or your dream school. So like average of those that have been admitted, not those that apply. And then another thing would be letter of recommendations are very important. So in terms of letter of recommendations, you want to choose teachers that have gotten to know you not only inside of school, not only in terms of academics or taking your classes, but also outside of school, so they can talk about how you're a well-rounded individual. For instance, for me, I got my rec from a zoology teacher who was also the advisor of a club that I was in. So you could talk about my abilities in that club and also in the class. And what I would recommend is filling up a brag sheet in which you talk about, were there specific things that the teacher told you, or were there specific compliments that the teacher gave you, and you can like tell the teacher like these are specific things that you told or said to me, and he could include that in your letter of recommendation. Then we go on to like a personal statement. And the personal statement, the main thing you want to do is you want to get everything that you have done and combine it into one unified theme. And there are many ways of approaching your personal statement. One way of approaching it is like, what have you experienced and how have you grown from that as an individual from those experiences? In terms of like the school-specific essay, what you want to do is you want to research about the school. Is there a specific person that aligns with your values? Like, is there some work that you have done And is there someone at that school or your dream school that has also done that, so you can work with them and further your knowledge on that? In terms of extracurriculars, you don't want to join a bunch of clubs. Like, you don't want to join 10 different clubs just to write it on your resume. What you want to do is you want to choose 3 things that you're truly invested in, 3 things that you really enjoy doing and you're passionate about. And as I said before, like, you start somewhere, you join the club, you have leadership, and then you advocate for a cause and try to learn more about that topic. And the way you can do that is by screening or shadowing. You can join an internship. So those are the main pointers.
Yeah, I think adding on to Adi's point is that it's not about how many activities you do or what position you have in a club or in an institution. It's about what change you can make. Often when you're applying to college, they ask you to write about an impactful activity and what changes you have made or what difference or impact you've created in that position. So I think it's very important. As they always say, it's quality over quantity, and in this case, that also holds true.
I think it is a balance that's hard to find. I don't think it's ever going to be 50-50. I think you have to kind of realize and say sometimes it'll be 70-30, sometimes it'll be 80-20, especially in Muharram. I read Nahas, so I actually have a story. This one time I had a really big exam for my chemistry class in high school, and it was also the majlis. I think it was a super important majlis. I think it was the last one of Muharram, the night before. And I think it really depends on the person. So instead of studying for the exam, I decided to go to the majlis because that's what was important to me at the time. And alhamdulillah, I ended up getting a good score too. But not to say that that's going to work every time. So I think it's really important to realize what you want. And I think because the best person to know how you're doing in your class and in school is you. So just realizing, making sure that you're prioritizing both things. But again, I think trying to find a 50-50 balance is what bothers a lot of people and makes it hard. It's going to be one way or the other, but it's okay as long as you're doing enough days for one and enough for the other. I think you'll be fine.
I think a lot of the advice from, your college experience carries over, where if you go into college and you don't want to alienate yourself from a group of people just because you're Shia, you don't want to hide from Sunnis. It's okay to be Shia in front of Sunnis. They know that we exist. If you carry that into the workplace as well, then people are going to realize that, you are practicing your religion. And people will oftentimes commend you for that because there's so many people who don't practice religion. So sometimes they'll respect you for it. And then oftentimes in work, there's DE&I opportunities that you can be a part of. So someone asked me, for example, like, oh, can you tell us a little bit about Ramadan for the DE&I Council so that everyone is aware of it? So like whenever Ramadan comes, I can kind of share a little bit information. I'll tell people that I'm fasting. Just don't make your identity a secret, because as long as you keep it a secret, then you're not as proud of it as you should be, and we should be able to carry ourselves high as she is.
Sorry, one quick thing I wanted to add to that is an amazing point. And I think being comfortable in your identity comes from, again, finding a community. So the way I do it is coming to Idara and listening to lectures where Maulana has answered questions about, that any doubts that Sunni Muslims might have, or any doubts that we might have about our religion. So I think the more knowledge you gain about your religion, the more comfortable you be, and the prouder you'll be about your identity, and you'll be more comfortable in sharing that as well.
So we have a question on the screen that says, how can one resume the career after a break from work? The person asking took a pretty long break from their career. Do you guys have any idea? I think this relates somewhat to getting into the career field. So I guess you guys probably wouldn't know how to resume, but it's similar to breaking into the field as new students or new professionals. So do you have a perspective on that?
Okay, so I applied to PA school, I got in, but I decided to apply to med school, so I had to take a couple years off for that. I've been working at Johns Hopkins as a research coordinator in that time, and I think it's been the best time of my life because before that I used to have a very different perspective. I know Desi community gap years are taboo. You're not supposed to take a gap between college and getting into whatever the next step is. But I think that once you do it, it does teach you a lot of things, especially working full time has taught me a lot of things, how to manage my time from 9 to 5 and still have time for hanging out with friends or extracurricular activities. So don't feel pressure to go right into whatever next step is into your career. It's okay to take a gap, and don't think that whatever, even if the experience that you have is not related to the field that you're going into, it's still going to teach you something. It's still going to be relevant, and it's still, the skills that you get are still going to be important in the next step. So don't feel like you're wasting your time taking gaps. Exactly. That's very true. Especially within the community, it's very important. So that's why I think the Marifa, I think everybody should join it. It's all making connections and building a stronger Shia